All right, and with that being said, the Detroit Lions defeat the Green Bay Packers 20-16. Officially means that the Packers are out. The Seattle Seahawks are now in the playoffs. What a crazy, crazy game! What a crazy way to end the season. And with that, welcome to the Week 18 live stream. My name is Jaguars9. This is our weekly show where we recap everything and anything that happened this week in the NFL season. You guys ask the questions, I will answer. I'll go in the order that I see the questions. If you want to have your question moved to the front of the queue, we have the donation leaderboard, so you can just donate through Super Chat or through Twitch, and I'll get to the question right away. Otherwise, I'm just going to go in the order that I see the questions. But thank you for joining me again. Apologies I couldn't get a video out today. Had an early flight back from Jacksonville last night. Also had no voice. Also a lot of other things. So Jaguars are in. We'll do a Jaguars recap at some point. I'm sure it'll come up in the questions. So yeah, let's see the questions. Peterson or Brian Dable for Coach of the Year? Personally, if I have to choose between the two, I would give it to Dable. I give it to Dable. I think more consistent, tougher division. Having said that, if I was picking my Coach of the Year, I'd give it to Shanahan. With all the injuries that Aaron's dealt with, having to play Brock Purdy at quarterback and make him look really, really good, I would give it to Shanahan or Sirianni. But seeing Trevor Lawrence in the Super Wildcard Weekend as gave me chills. So happy for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is surreal. It has not sunk in yet. It's not sunk in yet. Teams that don't deserve to be in the playoffs: Chiefs, Vikings, and Bucks. All right, I'll give you one of those. Can't really give the other ones. Is this the year the Bills pushed past the hump and make it to the Super Bowl? They were my pick from the start of the season. I have no reason to change that right now. No reason to change that. Especially if Josh Allen's fully healthy. The Bengals' coin celebration in the end zone might cost them more coin. Great celebration. I hope it doesn't cost them anything. I really don't. Celebrations usually don't cost the player anything unless you use a prop, or it's taunting, or it's offensive. There was nothing about that. It's just a coin flip, which I thought was really good. And thank you for the sub on Prime. Lackadaisical. Thank you so much for that. Would the Lions have been in if not for that dumb decision on Thanksgiving that no one in Houston saw? Not sure if they'd be in, but I think the Minnesota dumb decision was worse. I think the Minnesota dumb decision was way worse. Or you're doing that on fourth down. I think that was way worse. Let's see. Jamal Williams sets the franchise touchdown record for the Lions. I am really happy for him. Really happy for him. Really happy for him. The coin flip idea was a very dumb one from the beginning. I completely agree. Look, coin flip, there's precedent for it. I've talked about many times in videos. Happened in the 70s, almost happened in the 70s. Happened a bunch of times in the 60s to determine playoff spots. My most recent video was on that. But we've moved past that point. I don't get why, if the Bengals and Ravens ended up finishing with the same record, the Ravens had the better divisional record. Why couldn't you just give it to them? Because you still played 6 games in both. I think the solution really should have been, and I know it's convoluted, I really think the solution should have been, the Chiefs and Bills matter, and the Bengals and Ravens matter, in terms of who can get the 1. Those are the teams that matter. Or, in terms of breaking a tie, the Bengals and Ravens matter to each other, and the Chiefs and Bills matter to each other. The Bills didn't play the Bengals, the Chiefs did. Just don't count that game for the purposes of the standings. And vice versa, Ravens-Bengals. The Bengals didn't play the Bills, they were supposed to. The Ravens played the Bills, so just don't count that game. Got any dumb decisions for tomorrow? Yes, I do. We do have a dumb decisions on a coach that will probably not be here in 24 hours. I'm sure he is done. But he is a former person on the series, so I get one more chance to do it. Worst dumb decision this season? It's going to be tough to top what Hackett did. It's really going to be tough to top anything that Hackett did. We have a $5 from Joba R. Thank you so much for that. How many special teams players are getting cut by the hoodie after today? All of them. All of them. I mean, that was the worst special teams performance I've ever seen from the Patriots. 2 kickoff return touchdowns, kickoff out of bounds. I don't know what that was. I think it's a shame that Slater's final game, in all likelihood, was... I mean, because he's a special teams ace. If any specialist deserves to go into the Hall of Fame besides Tasker... I'm not talking kickers, punters, I'm just talking gunners. If anyone besides Tasker deserves to go into the Hall of Fame as a specialist, it's Slater. And at the same time, the last game he ever plays is one of the worst special teams performances you're ever going to see in your life. Who else thinks the Broncos will be better next year? They don't have Hackett, so it's tough to do worse. Is Russ getting any better next year or not? See, I don't know, because honestly, today he played very well. Outside of that awful screen pass, he actually played very, very well. So, I don't know, you got a guy like Bevel in there, you get a guy who has worked with him before, might be able to unlock something. We have a $20, holy cow, from Rook Yokun Ayuzawa. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I bet Uchi was smiling after that one on Saturday. You guys earned that vision title. Thank you so much. I'm sure Uchi would have loved to see that in person, but I'm sure he was watching that from above. They did a really nice tribute to him before the game. They did a really, really nice tribute to him before the game. I'm going to talk about the game in a few minutes once we get some more people on. Probably around 11:40. But yeah, sad to see Uchi go. This was a rough week, honestly, between Art. Although Art wasn't really sad because Hall of Famer dying at 98. I've always said that when you die past 90, it's more of a celebration of life at that point. But the same day that he died, Uchi dies way too young, and then obviously what happened with Hamlin. So tough day. But I'm sure Uchi's proud wherever he is right now. I'm sure he's really, really proud of what this team did. I don't care what anyone says. Urban may be the worst NFL coach of all time, but he is by far the undisputed because McDaniels is giving him a run for his money. Look, McDaniels is bad. I'm not going to deny McDaniels is bad, but he's your regular kind of bad. Urban was legendarily bad. See, there's a difference. Bad like McDaniels. Okay, you're a bad head coach, but you don't do anything remarkable that lives on forever. McDaniels isn't kicking players or not knowing who's on his own roster. McDaniels is a bad head coach. He never should have gotten a second chance. He should not be the coach of the Raiders next year, but I can't say that he's worse than Urban. It was the last time I checked, at least McDaniels had a 6-0 start one time. At least he had a 6-0 start. Crazy weekend, didn't expect the Lions and the Jaguars to enter in clutch fashion, although I'm sad that my Jets flunked out down the stretch. Yeah, let's talk about the Jets for a second. I don't know why you played Flacco. I don't know why the Jets played Flacco today. You're out of the playoffs. So I view it as if you're out of the playoffs, you play whoever gives you the best chance to win, or you play the youngsters, see what you have of them. Flacco fits neither of those criteria. He's going to be 38 years old next year. He is a shell of himself. He is terrible. He is a statue in the pocket. He has been bad for a long time now. I don't know why you played him over Zach Wilson. I'm not saying Wilson's good, but he's young. Or Strevler, at least he showed something against the Jaguars. I don't get what the purpose of playing Flacco was. Because what do you know? You know nothing else that you didn't know already. You know nothing else. You knew Flacco was bad. You know he's probably not going to be on the team next year. All right, nothing changed. Whether he played well or whether he didn't, nothing changed. Strevler, at least you know. All right, donations are coming in hot right now. We have $5 from Josh Sonic, 1525. Thank you so much. Looking back now, do you think the Jets should have kept Sam Darnold? No, he needed to change his scenery. He was never going to thrive in New York. Now, it's funny, if you put him on this roster, I think he would have, but look, sometimes it just goes past the point of no return, and you need a change in scenery. His pocket presence was terrible. We have a $10 also from Michael Hodel Official. Thank you so much. What do you think is in store for the Steelers in the next few years with how clutch Pickett was over the last few weeks? Honestly, first off, underrated Coach of the Year consideration. Mike Tomlin for having a winning record this year. Oh, wait, hang on. Schedule just came out. Hang on. I'll get to that question. The schedule just came out for Wildcard. All right, we have Seahawks-Niners at 4:30 on Saturday. Jaguars-Chargers, 8:15 Saturday night. We have Dolphins-Bills, 1 o'clock on Sunday. 4:30, we have Giants-Vikings. 8:15 Ravens-Bengals on NBC. Monday night game is Cowboys-Bucks. So Seahawks-Niners 4:30 Saturday on Fox. Jaguars game is 8:15. That works perfectly because it means we'll be able to do a Sunday night stream and a Monday night stream because I'll be back at that point. And then we have CBS 1 o'clock Dolphins-Bills, 4:30 on Fox Giants-Vikings. NBC, we have Bengals against the Ravens, and we have ESPN and ABC Cowboys-Bucks Monday night 8:15. So Saturday Night Football. Let's do it. Let's do it. I have no problem with Saturday. I have no problem with Saturday after what happened. I have no problem with Saturday. But, all right, so back to the Steelers question. Kenny Pickett, I have to be honest. He's improved a lot. He's improved a lot. He's making the throws he's supposed to make. He's out there making flashy, but he's very smart. He's a very smart quarterback back there. And look, in clutch situations, he has performed. He has absolutely performed. So I have to give the Steelers and Pickett a lot of credit because I did not see that coming. Do you think the Colts trade up to number 1 for Bryce Young? I mean, they have the ammo to do it. They have a top 5 pick. They have the ammo. I would hate if they did, but if any team's going to do it, it wouldn't shock me if it's the Colts. First Jags game on NBC since 2008. Yes, it is. Sunday Night Football, technically. Crazy. Did not think I'd be saying that. Speaking of Houston, how the HE double hockey sticks do they try that hard to not get the number 1 pick? Look, I think I have to look at the quarterbacks more closely, but if Stroud comes out, it's not going to be a huge deal. If Stroud does not come out, that is going to be one of the costliest wins of all time. One of the costliest wins ever. $5 from Scorpion, thank you so much. How crazy was it at the stadium after the game, and what are your picks for Wild Card Weekend? All right, so the stadium atmosphere was the craziest atmosphere I've ever seen at a Jaguars game in my life, and nothing will ever come close to that. Nothing will come close. Here's the thing. I've been to a ton of Jags games. I've been very, very fortunate to go to a ton of Jaguars games. Most of the games are mainly Jaguar fans, but it's about a 70-30, 60-40 split, something like that. Maybe it's 80-20, 90-10 in certain cases. It's very rare. I think Jaguars-Texans 2017 is about the only one that I can say was above 90, was above 80. The only one. This one was all Jaguars, all sold out. It was at least 95% Jaguars fans. I've never seen it that packed with nothing but teal. And the atmosphere was insane. Just people going crazy. People were in their seats way before kickoff. Way before kickoff. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And honestly, I don't think anything's going to come close. Maybe this playoff game, just because the Chargers, I don't think they're going to travel that well in terms of fan support coming to Jacksonville. But even if we host like an AFC Championship, for whatever reason, if we host the AFC Championship, not that we're going to, but you know Ravens fans will travel, you know Dolphins fans will travel. This was the only time I've ever seen a game where it was entirely Jaguars fans. It was a surreal moment. It sucks that the Lions can't make the playoffs anymore. I completely agree. They're a fun team to watch. I would have much rather seen them play than the Seahawks. Much rather would have seen them play. So we see the Colts trading Jonathan Taylor. I do not see that. Who's getting the number 1 pick? It's Chicago. Chicago gets the 1. Who will the Bears pick at 1? They're going to trade it. They're going to get a king's ransom for that number 1 pick, and they're going to trade it. You would be absolutely foolish to not trade that pick. You'd be absolutely foolish. There's a reason quarterbacks go number 1. And unless it's a year where there's not a great quarterback class, like last year, or there's no one really to trade back for, or you can get a premier defensive end. If you get a premier defensive end, that's one thing, but you can't. You trade that pick. You trade that pick and you don't look back. Is Staley playing his starters for most of the game a fireable offense? Look, at the end of the day, you can only play between 46 guys. some starters are going to play. Some starters are going to have to play. Plus, it'd be one thing if they had the 5 seed locked up way before. Like the Giants. They had the number 6 seed locked up going into the game. The Chargers were planning on the Ravens winning, and okay, we don't want to be the 6, we want to be the 5. They were planning on that. It's tough to change your plan in terms of how to get ready in preparation right before kickoff. It's really tough to do that. So I can't blame Staley a whole lot for doing that. Now, having said that, the moment that Williams got carted off, that would have been the red light for me, knowing the situation. That would have been the moment I've been like, okay, Herbert, you're out. I don't know why he played part of the second half. I don't know why Herbert played part of the second half. But I can't blame him at first. I can't blame him at first. What's messed up with Monday Night Football is that they don't have a game exclusively on ABC. That could have been huge. You underestimate, I think, what the fact that a lot of gyms have ESPN on and they don't have ABC on. A lot of gyms just leave ESPN on, and now gyms are counted into the Nielsen ratings. That's huge. That is huge. I see a lot of comments about Lovie Smith getting fired. That broke a few minutes before this game ended. Look, on one hand, Lovie's not taking anywhere. Lovie has not been good anywhere he's been the last decade or so. He was not good at the end of his time in Chicago. He was not good in Tampa. He was not good at Illinois. He has been bad at leadership in that top role for the last decade. It was a clear lame duck hire. I think a lot of people saw him as a one and done, 2 and done at most. On the other hand, I got to be honest, this team played better under Lovie than I thought. They played way better under Lovie than I thought. He didn't do anything really stupid. You might notice the Texans were an awful team this year. I did a lot of dumb decisions videos. I didn't do one on the Texans. I didn't do one on Lovie. For the most part, he made very, I guess, boring decisions, but he didn't do anything egregiously stupid. And over the final month of the season, they looked really good. They looked really good over the final month of the season. Played way above their weight. And on top of that, as a Jaguar fan, I'm happy that Lovie's fired because, for whatever reason, Lovie's defense has given Trevor Lawrence fits every single time we've played him. We played the Texans 4 times with Trevor, and all 4 times Trevor has struggled. So, for whatever reason, there are certain coordinators or certain players that are kryptonite, and Lovie Smith is one of them. So, I'm happy that the Texans fired him, but I do acknowledge it was the right move. At the same time, it's complicated. I acknowledge it's the right move. He's not going to take you anywhere, but I also acknowledge he did better than I thought, and having 2 lame duck one and done coaches in a row is not good. Is not good for the organization. So a lot of congratulations on the Jaguars. Thank you guys so much. We will get to that in just a few minutes because there's a lot. There's going to be a lot we have to say about that. Are the Jags winning next week? I don't see why we can't. I'll put it that way. I don't see why we can't. I don't think we will, but we beat them once already. I don't see why we can't beat them again. We're on a 5-game winning streak. If Trevor plays well, we can beat just about any team in the league. As long as we're in it. Do you think Jerry Rossberg was better than Hackett? I think a wet paper bag would have been better than Hackett. Look, the offense actually did something under Jerry. The offense actually did something. So, which teams do you say were helped the most by ref ball this season? Ooh. I don't know specifically, but I will say the end of the Seahawks-Rams game was very, very, very weird. Very weird. Jalen Ramsey getting called for roughing the passer with Geno Smith running into him. You had no intentional grounding. And then you had the Diggs interception, and it was no penalty for taunting. I think the refs definitely did not do their job correctly in the game against the Rams today. Are the BK ads the most annoying ads this year? Jacob with the $2. Thank you so much. There is no close second. There is no close second. The Old Navy ads were bad. The Old Navy hashtag sorry not sorry piano ads, they were terrible. There are a few other bad ads this year, but nothing compares to the Burger King ad. Nothing compares to that. Because it's annoying, it's catchy, it's everything that a bad ad should be. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Do you think the Chiefs winning the number 1 seed was unfair? I don't think so. No, I think at the end of the day, the situation was going to be bad no matter what you did. I think the Chiefs getting the 1 seed was the right move. Quay Walker, yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know what it was thinking. You don't shove the trainer. You don't shove the trainer. It is not hard. It is not a novel concept. You don't shove the trainer. Especially after what happened a few days ago. Especially after that. You do not shove medical staff. When medical staff are trying to assist someone on the ground, you do not shove them. Like not that this was a life or death situation. Obviously, this was not a what happened with Swift was not life or death by any means. But can you imagine if a Bengals player shoved a Bills medical person while Hamlin was down? I mean, those seconds could have been costly. You do not shove someone, let alone a medical person trying to do their job. I hope the fine is severe. I'm even fine with a suspension for Walker. And a big suspension, honestly, because that was the second time he's been ejected this season. Honestly, that was the second time he was ejected this season. Considering the magnitude and considering who he shoved, shoving a player is one thing, shoving a medical person, completely out of line. And I hope he gets punished to the fullest extent that the NFL can punish him. Because there was no need for that. AFC Championship at a neutral site, how do you feel about that? I think it's the most fair solution. How many people in the preseason had Geno Smith, Daniel Jones, and Trevor Lawrence as QBs who'd be starting playoff games this year? There's probably someone out there that had 2 of them. If you had all 3, I would call you crazy. We have a $2 from Squibs. Thank you so much. Duval is going to beat the Chargers. LMAO. I sure hope so. Will Walker be suspended for games next season? I could see him being suspended for 1 game. See him in the playoffs, JG9 from the 12s. Oh, Jags Seahawks Super Bowl. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Thoughts on the Bobby Petrino hiring? You don't leave a staff two weeks after you sign there. You don't. I don't expect anything less from Petrino. I don't think anything less from Petrino. Can we consider the Jags being a comeback team of the year when it comes to be from a worst start to a best start down the stretch? While the Titans and Jets get the slump team of the year for having an impressive run to a sloppy skid record-wise, I would say the Jets are probably the slump team. The Titans, I can't call them a slump team. Because they got decimated with injuries. The Jets, they didn't get decimated by anything. They just collapsed. The Titans, they were playing guys that had no business being on rosters. The Jets just completely collapsed. And honestly, even the Jaguars, yeah, their comeback was great, but you also have to remember the Steelers came back from 2-6. The Lions, honestly, the Lions could be the comeback team of the year too. Lions could be the comeback team of the year. If you're running the Bears, what do you need to trade the number 1 pick? I would need a Rams RG3 call. That's what I would need. What head coaches will be fired by tomorrow morning? Alright, so Colts, obviously Lovey's out. Broncos are going to make a change. I can see the Commanders making a change. And thank you for the sub, Matthew Carlson. Thank you so much for the sub. I can see the Commanders making a change. Cardinals, I could see making a change. I could see the Saints with Dennis Allen. I could see that. Wouldn't shock me either way what they do. And then McVay, not tomorrow, but I think he's going to take some time to think things over. I think he will take some time. I'm happy for your Jaguars, even though they beat my Cowboys. The Cowboys stunk it up today. Yeah, I'm worried about the Cowboys. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried about the Cowboys right now. I am very worried about the Cowboys. Because the last 5 weeks, they've not looked... Or last 6 weeks. Last 6 weeks. I forgot they played the Eagles. And they looked good that game, but then again, that was against a backup quarterback. They looked lethargic against the Colts, minus the fourth quarter. They did not play well against the Texans. They did not play well against the Titans. Obviously, they collapsed against the Jaguars, and they looked terrible today against Sam Howell and the Commanders, while they were playing their starters and while they thought they had something to play for. The Cowboys are not going into the postseason as a hot team. They're not going as a hot team. What happened to the Cowboys today? Dak Prescott, horrible throws. He's become very turnover prone, which I did not see coming. Did not see that coming. Was 2021 Aaron Rodgers the least deserving MVP of all time? Not even close. 1987 John Elway says hi to that. 87 John Elway. Way less deserving. Way less deserving. First 11-6 score in Dolphins-Jets since the 99 NFC Championship. Yeah, the only one, actually. Those are the only two. Those are the only two. And, bad beat for sure. Bad beat for sure. Isaac with a $2. Thank you so much. Bucks are going to win against the boys, I've got no doubt. I mean, I would have some doubt with the way the Bucks are playing. Or have been playing all season. I would have some doubt. Sure, the Panthers keep Sam Darnold. I mean, he's not costing a lot of money. Wait, he's a free agent this year. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I think it depends on what happens in the Lamar Jackson situation. Because if the Ravens let Lamar walk, I think you have to make a run for him. If not, I could see bringing back Darnold on like a 2-year deal, give him like Mitch Trubisky kind of money, and then draft a quarterback and then just see what you have there. I could see that. Do you think Jim Caldwell will get another head coaching job? No. Most guys, you get 2. You get 2, you don't get a third. There are exceptions, but for the most part, especially if you failed on both stints, and fail's a strong word, because Caldwell just wasn't that good, but he didn't fail like outright like McDaniels has, or like Urban or anything like that. But usually it is very rare to get 3. Is Rodgers retiring? I think he comes back for one more year. Are you extending Daniel Jones? Yes. Yes, he runs the offense well. Who makes it out of the NFC? Right now, I'm not betting against the Niners. I'm not betting against San Fran right now with that defense, with how many skill players they got. Do you think the Panthers promote Wilkes to full-time head coach? Unless you get Harbaugh? Yeah, I think they do. Players love playing for him. 5-5 over the last 10 with that roster. He was dealt a bad hand in Arizona. Outside of the game against the Rams, his first game, he made some very smart decisions this season. If the Bucks beat the Cowboys, is Todd Bowles safe? Yes. If they don't, he's gone. All right, let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk Jaguars for a bit. I know Texans odds they traded for number 1. I don't think they do. Let's talk Jaguars. I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start with this team. So I didn't do a live stream yesterday for a few reasons. Number 1, the Wi-Fi is not great down there, so just we're cutting in and out. Number 2, with how much was going on, you probably couldn't hear anything, and if you could, probably with what people were saying around me on the walk back, it probably would have been demonetized, and I'd be kicked off the platform within about 5 seconds. So I couldn't go live yesterday, but it feels surreal. It legitimately feels surreal that this is happening. There's no other way to put it. We were 4-29 the last 2 seasons. 4-29. I have seen this team of mine have 1 winning record since I graduated elementary school. 1 winning record. Graduated in the summer of 2008. 1 winning record. We were 2-6 We were down 17-0 to the Raiders in game number 9. And now we're we're in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. It doesn't feel real. Like, I was at the game last night, and yet it doesn't feel like I was at a game. Like, everything about that night just, it feels like a blur. It really feels like a blur. Nothing about this season has felt real. Like, this doesn't happen to the Jaguars. This happens to other teams. This doesn't happen to the Jaguars. And 2017 was awesome. Don't get me wrong. 2017 was awesome. But we beat up on a lot of backup quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks that were not supposed to be starting. A lot of really bad quarterbacks. Like, we beat up on Brissett twice with the Colts. The Texans didn't play Watson for either of those games. Browns had Kaiser back there. A lot of bad quarterbacks. A lot of backup quarterbacks. It was not sustainable. On top of that, the team just felt like a ticking time bomb in so many ways. So many ways it felt like a ticking time bomb. So many ways. With the personalities, with Coughlin, with everything going on. It did not feel sustainable. Maybe a 3-year window max. But this is. That's the crazy part. This is sustainable. Because we have the coach, we have the quarterback. We have everything. We have what we need to do. And to go from where we were to the playoffs, it really, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. And the moment, the turning point for me in this game, the symbol that no one is talking about. No one's talking about this play. I think it was 2nd and 5. There were like 7 minutes left. And Derrick Henry runs to Trayvon Walker's side of the field. Runs to Trayvon's side of the field. And Henry stiff arms Trayvon. And Trayvon takes the stiff arm and throws Henry to the ground. It's a loss of 3. That felt like the little brother that was beaten up by the big brother every single year. Titans, we have not swept them since 05. We have not swept the Titans since 05. Henry has stiff-armed us so many times. Stiff-armed us earlier in the game. Stiff-armed Rayshon. And then the fourth quarter, Henry runs to Trayvon's side, and Trayvon's like, nope, not having it. And that was the symbol. That, okay, your time is up. This was a changing of the guard. You felt that a changing of the guard was coming. But you couldn't say that the guard has officially been changed. You couldn't say it if Josh Dobbs comes in and beats you. If the Titans win the division for the 4th straight year, you can't say the guard has changed. Even though it's getting closer. Now you can. Now you can. This was a changing of the guard. And the resiliency that this team shows. The amount of times this season that we were trailing and we made a play when it mattered most. Ravens game, Cowboys game, this game. It just, I don't even know how to describe it. I really don't know how to describe it. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. And it's funny, the Rayshon Jenkins play, the strip sack, that fumble, Josh Allen picks it up, scores a touchdown. I didn't celebrate that play. Because I was just thinking to myself, yeah, that's not getting overturned. That's a forward pass. That's a forward pass. Great stop, but that's a forward pass. Even when he ran it in and they called a touchdown, I'm like, that's getting overturned. And then they announced that it was confirmed. And I don't know what happened at that point. That point, everything else from that point on just feels like a blur. That last hour or so, from that until the time I got out of the stadium, nothing about that felt real. I couldn't tell you anything that happened without the video footage. it was a crazy moment. It was a crazy moment. And this has been such a fun season. It's been such a fun season. And if it ends on Saturday night, it ends. I don't want it to end, but if it ends on Saturday night, it ends on Saturday night. But the fact that we even got to this point, and we're going to be here for a long time. We're going to be competitive. We're going to be in the running for a long time. As long as we got Trevor, as long as we got Doug, we're going to be in the running for a long time. This was... I've said it before. This was the greatest win in regular season history in Jaguars history. The greatest regular season win of all time for the Jaguars. And nothing else could ever come close. One of the beauties of rooting for a young team, relatively speaking, is that you got to live history as it happens. And I can safely say, we could play another 100 years, and we will never play another regular season game bigger than that. Winning in, losing or out against your biggest rival in prime time, to take the division from them, to complete a sweep that hasn't happened in nearly 2 decades, get revenge for 99, yeah, nothing's stopping that. Nothing is stopping that. And how we won that game, with all the mistakes we made, and with all the horrible defense in the first half, 10-minute drive, fourth down conversions galore, wide open passes, couldn't cover anything short, couldn't get the run game going. How we won that game baffles me. It really does. We had no business winning that game. It still doesn't feel real that we won that game. It still doesn't feel real. But here we are. Here we are. And this has been an 8+ season. It's been a magical year. Never my wildest dreams. 1 year ago, we were dressing up as clowns. 1 year ago, we were begging our owner to fire the GM, Trent Baalke, who has been very good in free agency this year. All his free agents, really. Fadakasi, Foye, Darius Williams, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, all been phenomenal. Brandon Sheriff. One year ago, we bungled our coaching search badly. Before I talk about that, $5 from Joe Batson. Thank you so much. That fumble play was the stench of 2017 coming off because almost the exact same sequence of events went against us, and last Snyder went for it. Yep. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking they were going to blow it dead. I was thinking they were going to call forward pass. I was thinking, I've seen this before. I've seen this exact thing happen before. And for the first time, it went our way. For the first time, it went our way. But 1 year ago, you have to remember where we were a year ago after Urban Meyer destroying Trevor Lawrence's development. A GM and a power struggle that should not have been there. GM should have been fired. Would have been fired with any other team. And then we interviewed Doug Peterson in December. Then we do nothing with Doug for a month. We interview other candidates. We interview Bill O'Brien for some reason. Then we go for Leftwich, and Leftwich accepts the job under the condition that we can bring in Adrian Wilson as the GM. And we don't even get back to Leftwich after that. Like, not even yes or no, we just don't get back to him. And then after a month, we talk to Doug again. We don't have a staff by the Senior Bowl, even though we were the first team to fire our coach. 1 year ago, this franchise was a mess. This franchise was a mess. And you wondered if it was ever going to get stable, if it was ever going to be better. And now here we are. Kings of the South, and we're not going anywhere. It's been phenomenal. Just a phenomenal season. And I'm so happy. It still does not feel real. I can barely contain my thoughts. It does not. Nothing about that feels real. Nothing about that feels real. We have a $5 from Samnus Arendine. Thank you so much. Hugh Jackson would have been better than Urban Meyer. See, here's the funny part. Urban at least was so bad that we had to get rid of him before the first year. As bad as Hugh Jackson was, and trust me, he was bad, he never betrayed the trust of anyone. We would have kept him on. If he was in Jacksonville, we would have kept him on for 2 or 3 years. But Urban at least was so bad we had to make a change. We didn't let him destroy Trevor's development. We didn't let him destroy anything. We just cut our losses after 1 year. $5 from Scorpion. 1 year ago, the Cons were worried about AEW, not the Jags. Cons are doing great right now. Honestly, Cons are doing great. Fulham is playing their... I thought my goal with Fulham this year was to avoid relegation. We're making a push for Europe. We're making a push for European football. We're way past avoiding relegation. We're going to finish top 10 if all goes well. We might make the Europa League, or we might make the Conference League, which I did not see coming. AW, from all I can tell, is doing well, and then obviously the Jaguars are in a great spot. We have a cheer from the Not Done Network. Thank you so much for that. Jacksonville's a lot better than even you give them credit for. My Patriots ain't in it, but y'all are. Hopefully y'all can make some noise. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. It's weird, because like, I'm so used to the Jaguars being the Jaguars. And this team's different. This team is absolutely different. This team is way more resilient. This team is way better coached. This team has way more clutch players. This team has way more talent on offense. This is not the same old Jaguars. This is not the same team. And I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. No one saw this coming. No one saw this coming. At least, I mean, if you look at what happened in '96, 4-7 to 9-7. Crazy turnaround, second year expansion team. Crazy that they pulled that off. But if you look at who they played to win those 5 games, I mean, they played Baltimore, Cincy, Houston, Seattle, Atlanta. Those are 5 teams that ended the year below 500. Those are some of the worst teams in football. To make this turnaround, we had to beat some incredibly good teams. We had to beat Dallas. We had to beat Baltimore. We had to beat Tennessee twice. We had to beat the Jets. We had to break every streak in the book. We had to break every single streak. We had not won in Nashville since 2013. We broke that streak. Then the following week, played the Cowboys. Hadn't won an NFC game in 20 straight tries. Broke that streak. Then the following week, okay, we have never won a road Thursday night football game. We have not won a road primetime game since 2000. Broke that streak. Next week against the Texans. All right, we have not beaten the Texans in 9 straight tries. Broke that streak. And then this year, have not swept the Titans since 2005. We broke that streak. We broke 5 streaks, 5 hexes that have haunted this franchise for a long time in 5 straight weeks. It's like this is a brand new team. It's like this is a brand new team. And I'm just baffled. Really. I'm happy to keep talking about the game if you guys have any questions. I'm going to go through the rest of the questions. Let's see. What do you think of Sam Howell? I mean, it's one game. It's one game, so I can't really evaluate after one game because he looked fine. He looked fine. I think he'll get a chance to start. He'll compete, but I think it'd be downright silly to give him the job right away. We have $2 New Zealand dollars from the Lim Report. Thank you so much. Grats on the Jags Duval Air Show this Saturday night. Oh, it's going to be fun. Herbert against Lawrence. It's going to be a fun matchup. We have a $5 from Samus Arndine. Thank you so much. Have you considered a what-if series of videos where you go into league history and speculate what happens from then on if you change one event? I've thought about that for the offseason. There's some stuff I want to try in the offseason that we'll see. We'll see. I have a bit more freedom this offseason because I have more time, since, again, this is my full-time job now. And since I've offloaded some stuff to to some editors. Not on JG9, but I do have JG8 a video coming out that I shipped off to an editor. So, and I have to still get in touch with getting the contract signed for the baseball channel, but I do have an editor there. So I'll have some leeway. I'll put it that way. We have a $5 from Vince Brada. Thank you so much. If Jacksonville beats the Chargers, then beats Kansas City, would that be a bigger upset than versus 96 Broncos? No, not even close. It'd be an upset. It would be an upset. It would not be bigger than 96 Broncos. Look, Jags-Chiefs, Jags-Chargers would not be an upset. The Jaguars beat the Chargers earlier in the season. The line is 1.5. That would not be an upset. I don't think they're going to win, but it would not be what we consider an upset. And then they beat the Chiefs. Look, we played the Chiefs. We held our own against them. We held our own. We lost by 10. We shot ourselves in the foot. Patterson missed 2 field goals. Shot ourselves in the foot. It'd be an upset. But you have to remember, Jags-Broncos 96 was the best team in the NFL besides the Packers. A team that many thought was destined to make the Super Bowl. It was them and everyone else in the AFC. Everyone said, like with Denver, okay, they've got to buy to the Super Bowl. They've got to buy to the Super Bowl. They've got a clear path. Hall of Fame quarterback, stacked offense, at home, where they were undefeated all season, against an expansion team, a second-year expansion team. No one was giving them any shot whatsoever. No one was giving them a shot. Woody Page with the Jaguars article. No Kansas City Royals is going to do a Jaguars article. No one. Jags-Chiefs would be an upset. Jags-Broncos was maybe... I'd even go as far as saying, not counting the Super Bowl, if we're just talking playoff, non-championship games, I go as far as saying Jags-Broncos was the biggest upset in postseason history. If we're talking non-championship, so I'm not talking the Super Bowl, I'm not talking anything like that, I'm just talking wild card, divisional round, conference championship, just talking that, I really don't think there was an upset in the playoffs bigger than Jaguars-Broncos. Was the 96 Jags beating the Broncos the greatest game in Jaguars history? Yes. But honestly, that was one. Last night was number 2. Considering the stakes, considering what it meant, considering who we played, who we beat, last night was number 2. And yes, the Jags did it for Uchi. Yes. I'm sure he was watching. He was watching from above. I'm really, really happy that Uchi had it right the whole time. Uchi, he did say we were going to win the division. And at least when he passed, we were in first place. So he saw it, and I'm sure he was watching. He was with us. So I not think Will Anderson or Jalen Carter is with the number 1 pick. Look, if the Bears can't trade the pick, I think they're fine choices. But unless you can get a premier defensive end or a premier quarterback, you trade that pick. Especially, it's not, do I think Will Anderson or Jalen Carter is not worth the number 1 pick? It's not that. It's more of, would I rather have Will Anderson, or would I rather have 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and maybe something else? Which would I rather have? Could today's emotional game in Buffalo, Damar Hamlin side, go down as the swan song for Bill Belichick? No. No. Belichick's not going anywhere. $53,000 salary for a water boy. Wow. Jags, Giants, surprise playoff teams of the year, and Seattle too. Yes, I agree with those. Any dark horse picks for Black Monday? You know, with how badly managed Arthur Smith led the Falcons in in-game situations and did not get better, wouldn't shock me. I guess that's as dark horse as I'm going, is either him or Stefanski. I don't think either get fired, but if you want dark horse, Stefanski or Arthur Smith. Table with more dumb decisions than love it. Yes. Does a coach aiming to play for the tie instead for the win count as a dumb decision? No. Depends on the situation. It depends on, does the tie help you or does it hurt you? Like in the Giants Commanders game, going for the tie there, like, I had no problem with that. No problem with that. Ties can benefit you. especially back in the 60s when ties didn't count. I think it depends on the situation. Like if let's say the Seahawks lost today. If the Seahawks lost today, Lions play the Packers, winner moves on, losers out, but a tie sends the... I think a tie would send... I think... No, okay, no, let's say... So, Seahawks won. Let's say Seahawks won. Seahawks won. Lions, Packers. Packers need to win. If they play for the tie in overtime, yes, that's a dumb decision. If it's 4th and 1 and there's 3 minutes left, and you kick the field goal down by 3 in overtime, that's a dumb decision. That's a dumb decision. What is the dumbest tie in NFL history? Funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. Because I have a video on the dumbest tie in NFL history. It's not really NFL, it's 1968 American Football League. So, basically, the Bengals and the Oilers played each other in 1969. I did this video a long time ago. I'll leave a link in the chat. And the Bengals, for whatever reason, decided to play for the tie, even though to make the playoffs, you had to finish top 2, and the only way they could come top 2 in the standings was if they didn't tie. Paul Brown, great head coach, that was his worst moment. Bengals Oilers 1969. I'll put it in the chat. We have the Not Done Network with a 100-bit cheer. Thank you so much for that. The dark horse team in the AFC, I have to admit, is the Jaguars. Trevor's playing up to what he thought he was capable of. Yeah, although the last 2 weeks have not been great. The last 2 weeks have not been great for Trevor, but I think dark horse in the sense that we could win a game. I think there's a clear top 3. There's a gap between the haves and the have-nots. There's a clear top 3 with Cincy, KC, and Buffalo. It's going to come down to one of those 3. I'd be shocked if we go anywhere past the wild card round. So let's see if I can find the video. I should know, video coming out tomorrow on both JG9 and JG8. Dumb Decisions video dropping at 9 a.m. Eastern. Got one more Dumb Decisions. The final one of the regular season. Hallelujah. So here's the video on that. Which teams do you think deserve to make the playoffs? I would have liked to see the Lions over the Seahawks. Lions are fun to watch. Lions are playing better football right now. Lions, at least, I think, have a shot. Seahawks, I don't think, have a shot at doing anything in the playoffs. NFC Championship pick? Right now, give me Niners Eagles. I know it's a 1-2. I know it's a cliche move, but I gotta go with that. Dolphins are the biggest for on the playoffs this year. I mean, here's the thing: if Tua's healthy for whatever reason, they've got a shot. At full health, we've seen how good they can be. Houston should hire Brian Flores. I would not do that if I'm the Texans. If I'm the Texans, I'm hiring an offensive-minded guru. I'm hiring an offensive-minded coach that, first off, we don't know the whole situation with what happened with Flores in Miami. We don't know. I mean, if I'm the Texans, first off, I try throwing my money on Harbaugh. It's not going to happen. But I try throwing my money on Harbaugh. Just because you have to. You have to shoot your shot. But if not, I'm hiring an offensive-minded head coach. That's not Brian Flores. D'Amico Ryans he's not offensive. He's not offensive-minded coach. No, this is Patrick2334 with a follow. El Toro Loco 619. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much for that. So I think the Rams blow it up. I think if McVay doesn't come back, I think they will. Tarico confirmed on the broadcast he's doing Bengals Ravens. Yes. So then Al Michaels, who's doing color commentary then for the Jags game? Because Al Michaels will do the Jags game. But I don't know who is doing color there. Is it going to be Dungy? Is it going to be Garrett? Is it going to be a 3-man booth? I don't know what it's going to be. We have a $2 from Spencer Webb. Love the video about USF. Thank you so much. We have a sub from David Lee. Thank you so much. Texans hire Eric Bieniemy. No, Bieniemy would have been hired by now. There's a reason. There's a reason. I think if you're the Texans, You have to remember, the Texans did the search last year. They did the search last year. So they know a lot of these guys. They know a lot of these guys right off the bat. Nothing really changed for them. The Notre Dame crew is doing the game. Okay. Dumb decisions, 2-point conversion. Mills should have thrown the ball into the stands. Look, I'm not complaining. The number one thing I wanted to have happen today was the Texans win so they don't get the number 1 pick. Because I want Bryce Young out of that division. What weaknesses of the 49ers could be exploited in the playoffs? Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, right now I think they are the most well-balanced team in the league. I don't really know if they have a weakness right now. I really don't know. I guess the only thing I would be worried about is with Brock Purdy, they've been playing from ahead a lot of the time. We haven't really seen a situation where he's playing from behind. So if you can get them in a hole, it'd be interesting to see how they respond. But right now, they are the most complete team in football. What do you think the Bears would do with their number 1 pick? I think they should trade it. We have a $2 from Michael Cuomo. Thank you so much. Did we talk about upcoming Black Monday? We did a bit. In terms of who I think is gone, AFC East, no one. AFC South, obviously Lovey just got fired. The Colts are not going to be next Saturday. AFC North, I don't think anyone's gone. AFC West, obviously Broncos will make a change. McDaniels will stay another year. I think Mark Davis does not have the money to do it. NFC East, I could see Rivera getting fired, and I would actually say he will. I actually think Rivera, after that whole debacle with Wentz and the not knowing the playoff situation, I could see Rivera going out. NFC South, Bowles, obviously you're not firing him right now, but if they lose in the wildcard round, he will. Dennis Allen, I could see. Arthur Smith is safe. Steve Wilkes, I think, will get extended, or he'll get an interview at least. NFC North, no one. NFC West, Kingsbury and McVay won't make a decision right now, but I think he's going to ponder it. I know the Jags game, it has Al Michaels, but it'll be NBC. Al Michaels, when he signed the deal with Amazon, NBC was like, look, we need a number 2. We need a play-by-play man for the playoff game. You can come back for that. What was my experience with the Titans-Jaguars game yesterday? Craziest atmosphere I've ever seen in my life, and nothing will come close. Will scoring more points to the opponent be the biggest factor in the Jaguars winning on Sunday? That would help. Also, allowing fewer points. That also would help a lot. Geno Smith threw 2 touchdowns in 12 games. Really consistent lack of big ups or downs. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. You know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get with Geno. Very reliable in that regard. How do streams and videos work for the playoffs? I was on deployment last year during Week 18 in the playoffs, so I missed it all. Oh, so during the playoffs, video every day. Nothing changes there. Video every day. The theme, I mean, we're going to have themes. So tomorrow's some decisions, but after that, Tuesday through the weekend will be all wildcard related videos, then all divisional related videos, then all conference championship related videos, and then we'll do some stuff Super Bowl related. We'll do some Super Bowl commercial videos as well. Stream-wise, what we're going to do, I'm going to stream on Sunday night after the Sunday night game next week, and I'm going to stream on Monday night after that game. So we're going to have 2 streams on back-to-back days right here on Twitch and YouTube, where I'll stream after Cowboys-Bucks on Monday night, and I will stream on Sunday night after the Sunday night game. No stream Saturday night, because I'll be at the game. Same reasons that I couldn't stream after that before, but we will have a Sunday night and a Monday night stream. So that's how it works. I remember watching the 1997 game where Reggie Brown had to get CPR and an ambulance took him off the field. I'm glad 25 years later they have the sense to not keep the game going when the player is in the hospital and his life is in danger. I think the protocol from this point on is probably going to be, if a player gets taken off in an ambulance because of something like that, they'll stop the game. They'll check to see if his life is on the line. They'll take a delay, almost like the Christian Eriksen situation at Euro 2020, where he he basically died on the field and then came back to life. And I mean, the medical team did a great job there. They took about an hour delay until they realized that Erickson was going to be okay, and then they played the game. I think that's going to be the protocol. If we know that he's going to be okay, they can move on. Because you can at least not get it off your mind, but at the very least you can play the game at ease knowing that your teammate's going to be okay. I think what made the Hamlin situation so scary is that we didn't know he was going to be okay. We didn't know if he was going to make it. Erickson, we knew after about a few minutes that he was going to be okay. Well, this will be my first Jaguar playoff game. I went to the Bills game in 2017. Was I crying? I don't even remember if I was crying. I really don't. Wouldn't shock me if I was. I know I was screaming a lot and heavily breathing a lot and shaking a lot. I don't know if I was crying or not. I really don't know. I'll tell you, it was a blur. It was a blur. How am I feeling about Doug Peterson now? I remember on that Dumb Decisions, you absolutely hated the decision of the Jaguars getting him. Yeah, that changed. That changed. I'm very happy to say that changed completely. Because the thing with Doug, I said that the reasons you hire him are because you want to win games and you want to help Trevor Lawrence develop. Well, at the time of that, we were 2-6. We were not winning games. And it's not just that we weren't winning games. His decisions were actively costing the Jaguars games. He was making horrible play calls on fourth down. Horrible play calls. He was making some of the stupidest decisions, just in terms of when to call certain plays, running back usage, the rotation between ETN and Robinson, not using running backs, not knowing when to challenge things. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. He was costing us games. And I said, you keep Doug on to develop Trevor, but Trevor wasn't developing. He was playing terribly. You saw the Denver game. You saw the Houston game. You saw the Washington game. He was not playing well. So I was like, okay, what's the point? What's the point then? What is the point of having Doug Peterson as the head coach? Because the team's not winning, and Trevor's not developing. Obviously, that all changed. So obviously, I'm totally fine now with that. $10 from Scorpion, thank you so much. Do you still feel that the bungee jump Tostitos ad is still the most unfortunate casualty of circumstance when it comes to unaired Super Bowl commercials? I think so. There was no way to foresee that. At least, I talked about the promo video the ad that Pepsi ran at Super Bowl 25, this giant promotion that had to get canceled due to the war. At least that was foreseeable. That I don't know what they were thinking. Like, of course, the phone line's going to be jammed for that. Like, you couldn't do that. That was just poor planning. The bungee jumping, you couldn't expect when you made that commercial that a bungee jumper was going to die. You couldn't expect that. No one's ever died at the halftime show before, or in rehearsals for the halftime show. You assume it's going to be a super safe production. I think it was Cirque du Soleil that was helping run it. Like, you assume that it was going to be safe and totally safe, and it was literally the last run through, the very last run through. You couldn't foresee that whatsoever. So yeah, I don't know if there was even a close second. And it was a good ad too. It wasn't like, was it anything crazy good? Not really, but it was fine. It was a fine ad. It was a fun ad, and it had playability after the game. Like, you could easily use that in a campaign after the game. I'm going to leave a link to the video that Scorpion is talking about in the comments. But it was just unfortunate. I love the Super Bowl ad videos. Thank you so much, Banjo. Thank you so much. I love doing those vids. I know those are probably the most mixed reception videos I get, just in terms of, they're not really about football, but it's a unique change of pace. Yeah, Nickelodeon had to cancel their call and promotion too during the Gulf War. Yeah, a lot of companies had to cancel those. We have a $5 from Michael Orm. Thank you so much. With the Seahawks in the playoffs Aaron Rodgers will have plenty of time to be a guest host for Jeopardy. Fortunately, they have that figured out now. Although Ken's doing a great job, I don't want Balak doing anything but the primetime games. I'm fine having 2 separate hosts because Jeopardy has grown so big that having one host might be a lot on their plate, but just keep Ken as the host. He's doing a great job. He knows the answers. So I think Josh McCown will be the new head coach in Houston. No, I don't think so. I think after what happened with Jeff Saturday, I think it's going to be a horrible look for the league if the Texans hire Josh McCown with no head coaching experience. I think the NFL's going to step in. No head coaching experience, no coaching experience of anything really. And I'm just saying what people are probably going to say. This is not how I feel. This is not necessarily what I think. But it's going to be a bad look if you fire David Culley and Lovie Smith as one and dones in back-to-back years, and then you give Josh McCown an unlimited number of times. You give him more than a year. You're gonna you see where this is going. You see where this is going. It will not look good. It will not look good. I don't think they will hire McCown. I would not. Also, just if you're getting Stroud, I do not think you're getting Stroud. I don't want to put my faith in a guy that has barely coached. I don't want to put my faith in him. You get a guy like Doug Peterson, who has a proven track record with that. Does Eric Bieniemy finally get a head coaching job? I don't think so. I think there's a reason he hasn't been hired already. He was not that good at Colorado. He has a very sketchy background. I think he would have been hired a long, long time ago. Yeah, the Just for Feet. Yeah, the vaguely racist ad for Just for Feet that tanked the whole company. I was shocked with that ad. I was like, what are you thinking? What is the thought process with that ad? And that was really the first video in that format I ever did, with like transitions and all that. And yeah, there were some things I do differently with that vid, but that was really the moment I was like, okay, this channel might be something. Who I think could trade up for the number 1 pick. I could see Colts. I could see doing it because they might not have to give a whole lot because you only moving down to 4 or 5. Colts, Panthers, Commanders, maybe the Falcons could do it. I think those 4 probably have the best shot. If the Saints keep Allen, Pete Carmichael has to be fired. Yes, absolutely. Why does Seattle get the 7 over the Lions? Tiebreaker. I think conference record probably the tiebreaker. Oh no, Seattle won head-to-head. Forgot about that. Oh yeah, that was a shootout like early in the season. I forgot about that. Any chance of a video on the Holiday Inn ad that got pulled? I'll put it this way. I've had thoughts about ads that I want to cover on the channel for a long time, and I don't know if I'm gonna do I don't know which ones I'm gonna do or this year or save for next year, but I do have some ads in mind. Just as I'm not saying these are going to be the videos. I'm not saying that because I don't know how many Super Bowl ad videos I'm going to do. But ads I've had in mind. Let me see, because I have a document of anytime there's an article that I find that. Let's see. Nationwide 2007 fast food ad. That got some heat for some reason. The Holiday Inn one is on there. There's some other ones. Nationwide 07, I mean, there's also was it GM in 2008? Well, or 2009? Well, the Nationwide ad in 07 was just a stupid controversy. It was a stupid controversy. It was a funny ad that people assume the wrong way of like you have a deadbeat job if you're working fast food, and people just took offense to that. There's one ad that I want to do, but it's gonna be tough to get past copyright with that because there's part of it is they play a song. It's the ad with I think it was GM. I think it was GM. I want to say 09, maybe 09. I forget what year it was, but you know the ad. If you know what I'm talking about, it's the robot that lost its job because like people are like going back to work and the economy's doing better, I guess, or we're still thriving. So the robot's now lonely that he can't work anymore, and he's sad and he's depressed. And the first 45 seconds are like, okay, this is actually kind of funny. This is actually kind of cute. And then it ends with the robot like on a bridge, looking down at the water and just jumping to his death. And it's like, whoa, okay. That was, that took a complete 180. That was way too far. That was like, whoa, okay. We actually just went there. Yeah, Super Bowl 41. That was the one. Super Bowl 41. Super Bowl 41. Yeah. That problem is that ad, because I have to play the full ad. That one features a song All By Myself by Eric Carmen. Great song. But I can't play that song without getting blocked or that. No, but that's a real commercial. Real commercial. I want to see if I can find it on YouTube. If I can do a video on it and the controversy that came from it, I've had that one on my list for a while because that was, it was, Sad Robot, yeah. Is this the one? Alright, let me check. I know this is the synopsis for the ad. I will link it in the chat. This Super Bowl 41 spot features a small yellow robot that is part of a GM assembly line. The robot makes a tiny mistake and drops a screw that forces the line to be shut down. The employees at the plant are sadly forced to banish the little robot from the premises, and the robot mourns over his slip-up. While he looks for new work and purpose, GM cars keep driving by, and he's reminded of his imperfection. This becomes too much to handle, so the little robot decides to jump off a bridge. I'm not making that up. Someone thought that was a good idea. That is a real ad. Oh, the Snickers one, yeah, I've had that one on the list too. Am I going to do a vid on the I'll Never Get Cooties ad? I don't remember that ad. Could I play the ad with something dubbed over the song? It'd be tough because that's kind of the point, is the song fits perfectly. Was there a Ram Truck ad with MLK in it? Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, Al Michaels is calling the Chargers-Jags game as their number 2. Rick Bisaccia, head coaching job? I could see that, yeah. I could see that. Good riddance, DirecTV Sunday Ticket. My thoughts on that, thank God. The app was terrible. The player was terrible. I'm going to miss Siciliano's red zone. I am going to miss that. I do like his red zone a lot. But the fact that you could only watch one game at a time on one device, really, really bad. Really, really bad. I hated the fact that if I wanted to watch, let's say I wanted to watch a game on my Apple TV and then a game on my laptop, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that unless I went on illegal streams. Even though I legally own a Sunday Ticket account. I think people realize with the Amazon ratings, with what we're going to see with YouTube, people are willing to pay for streams. And they're willing to pay to watch your product if you give them a good option. You give them a good option, a high-quality option, they're willing to pay. Sunday Ticket was not a high-quality option. That was the problem. When do you have so much time to watch football? 3 games a week is tough for me. I mean, this is kind of my job, so I kind of have to. Does YouTube pick up Siciliano for the red zone? No, he made it seem with his sign-off that he's done. They're going to pick up Scott Hansen's red zone. Can I ask why your first overall pick is non-discussion for Rookie of the Year? So, first off, Sauce Gardner and Tariq have been phenomenal. And Hutchinson's been great. Walker, he's quietly very good. He's good against the run. You saw it in the Titans game. He was a beast against the run, drew 2 holding penalties, and made a huge tackle for a loss. Walker's great against the run. That doesn't really show up on the stat sheet. Plus, he had his ups and downs, and he missed a few games with injury. Picks for Wild Card Weekend. AFC, give me the Chargers. Give me the Bengals, and give me the Bills. NFC, give me the Giants. Give me the Niners, and give me the Cowboys. I think 3 road teams win. Mark Brunell is better than Trevor Lawrence. I mean, look, Trevor's had 1 good year. Brunell he's in the pride of the Jaguars. He had many good years, so right now I'd say yes. Will Anderson was number 1 next year with the Bears pick. You can find good wide receiver and linemen in the later rounds after free agency. I don't think they're going to keep the pick. I don't think they're keeping the pick. That's the thing. If they do keep the number 1 pick, I think Anderson does go 1. But I think you have to look at it as, would I rather have Will Anderson, or would I rather have a top 5 pick, 2 more first-round picks, and a second-round pick or a third-round pick? Am I going to do a video about how the bar rescue guy claims he invented NFL Red Zone? I mean, that's a true story. I do want to do a video at some point this offseason, a long-form video on the history of NFL Sunday Ticket on DirecTV. I do want to do a video on that. On John Taffer, how he created the idea. And that's not like an outlandish claim. John Taffer really was the mastermind behind all this, which is crazy to think about. If JJ and I are still doing videos in 15 years, there's going to be a you won't believe what Red Zone used to be like. All right, so here's the thing with the you won't believe titles. That's only for shorts because for whatever reason, the algorithm loves that. For whatever, I have more creativity and freedom, I guess, with the shorts titles because they're not the real videos. The shorts are just a way to get people to watch the full video. And for whatever reason, anytime I put you won't believe in the title, it does better than if I don't. To do a video on Packers ownership. I'd be very biased because I'm an owner of the Packers. I actually have a stake in the Packers. All 3 Florida teams in the playoffs for the first time since 99-2000. Yes, and I would not mind playing the Dolphins in the AFC Championship and having a rematch of 99 and just doing it to them again. Boris, he didn't invent Red Zone. No, he invented Sunday Ticket. He was the mastermind behind Sunday Ticket. I don't know who invented the concept of Red Zone, but the guy that created the concept of Sunday Ticket was John Taffer. It was John Taffer. Your opinion, should the Panthers stick with Wilkes or get someone else? Stick with Wilkes. Going 500 with that roster, that was clearly, after the McCaffrey trade, was clearly not trying to win this year. I realize now that I need to change my career path. I need to become good enough to be hired as a football coach, but bad enough to get fired than just at home and collect a paycheck. You need to be good for a brief period of time, then go to a college. That's what you got to do. Was I around during the inaugural Jaguars season? I was minus 2 years old, so no, I was not around. I was born in 97. Enjoy the run, however long it lasts. Yeah, I'm not taking this for granted. I've seen too much bad football, and I've suffered through so much, I'm not taking this for granted. Trust me, it is very easy to take certain things for granted. I'm not taking this one for granted. There will be a moment where making the playoffs isn't a huge thrill. I'd be very fortunate to get to that moment. That moment is not coming right now. My favorite part of the Jags game was the Florida Man Guitar National Anthem. Bring him back for Saturday night. Please bring him back for Saturday night. That was incredible. Best anthem I've seen at a Jaguars game ever. I'm doing all right, the J-Dog Infinity. Thank you so much for asking. Can't really complain after all that. like soccer, you don't celebrate until VAR confirms it. I mean, I celebrate in soccer depending on the goal. Depends on the goal. But, yeah, I did not celebrate until that. I am going back to Jacksonville Saturday night, yes. I am going back to Jacksonville on Saturday night. Who was the greatest regular season game before the Jaguars-Titans? Greatest regular season game before. In terms of the stakes, most important was the Jags-Falcons 96. But this was bigger. This was bigger. Did Dan Campbell make a genius coaching move declining the offside penalty on second one? Yes, absolutely. And I can't believe... See, I'm baffled by some of these commentators. Like Chris Collinsworth, I think he's a great commentator. How did he was blaming, I think it was Wyatt, who jumped offside. And he was blaming Wyatt and was like, this is why when coaches are in big spots, they don't like playing young players because they sometimes do stuff like that. I'm like, no, he intentionally did that. That was intentional. That was intentional to get the first down for that exact reason. So that you have a better shot at getting the ball back. That was completely intentional. That was not a dumb young player mistake like Quay Walker. That was not that. That was a that was completely intentional. Who do I think will be the special teams player of the week this week? Oh, it's going to be Hines, and there won't be anyone close. It's going to be Hines, and there's no competition. No competition. Also, there's a move that no one's talking about. I posted it on Twitter. There was a play on that 2nd and 1. So after that 2nd and 1 play, Lions call a run, and it's close to the line of scrimmage. It's very, very close to the line of scrimmage. Not line of scrimmage, the first down line. First down line. It's very, very close. If you're the Packers, why not challenge the spot? Honestly, why would you not challenge the spot there? There's 2:20 left in the game. Let's say you throw the challenge flag and you get it right. All right, it's 3rd down now. It's 3rd down. You got to stop. Let's say you get it wrong. All right, you lost your challenge. All right, you're going to lose it in 20 seconds anyway. You're going to lose it in 20 seconds because of the 2-minute warning. And you lose a timeout. All right, you were going to call timeout anyway. You have nothing to lose by throwing the challenge flag there. It was a close spot, and then they gave him the first down. It was just... Some of these coaches, you throw the flag right away just in case. Just in case. Do I think the Lions defensive coordinator... Defensive coordinator? Glenn? No. Offensive coordinator, I could see Johnson. I could see Johnson absolutely getting a job. If I'm the Texans, honestly, that's the guy I'm going after. If I'm the Texans, that's who I'm going after. Because he's done a phenomenal job with that offense. If I'm the Texans, I need a bright offensive mind for Bryce Young. That's the guy. That's my number one target from the Texans. Kingsbury is scheduled to have a press conference tomorrow. He might not be getting fired. Holy cow. Look, I'll put it this way. 1 more year of Cliff versus the rumor that they would hire Vance Joseph and they'd be stuck with him for a few years. Oh, jeez. Cardinals are a mess. And, I have no ties to the Cardinals. I'm not a Cardinals fan. Couldn't care less about them at all. I go to their games only when the Jaguars are not playing. So I'll go when they host Thursday night and Monday night games. I seriously hope that the Cards can be somewhat decent so that I can actually still go to games. Because I only go if it's Thursday night or Monday night and the Jags aren't playing. Will the Texans try to trade for the number 1 pick? I could see it, but I don't think they'll do it. I'm a Packers fan. My wife checked to see if I'm okay. I'm okay. I managed to not get emotionally invested in this game of grown men trying to get a piece of leather across the painted line. I mean, you've had so many playoff runs, too. Love your content, bro. Go Bills. Thank you so much, Bills Maniac. And look, if the Jags can't do it, I'm rooting for the Bills this year. I really am rooting for them. Jags can't do it. Am I a little concerned that 2 teams in your division could be getting new young QBs that could challenge Lawrence, the Colts and the Texans? Not yet. No, I'm not worried. Look, those are 2 teams that are in shambles with ownership and with everything. Wait to see them step on the field before I worry. Plus, I guess my only concern would be if the Colts trade to get the number 1 pick and the Texans get the 2, and it's young Stroud. But I just didn't want Bryce Young, and it looks like that's not going to happen unless they trade up. If for some miracle reason the Bills face Tom Brady and the Bucs in the Super Bowl, will Bills fans throw a you-know-what on the field at the Super Bowl? I don't think so, only because throwing that on the field and getting ejected from the game when you spent $7,000 to be there, and $7,000 is for nosebleeds. You're not reaching the field with that from the nosebleeds. So you have to be very close to the field. Where it's probably $20,000. You're not doing that over $20,000. You're not doing it over that. Jags Broncos was the biggest playoff upset since Super Bowl III. I agree. The only you can make an argument for Vikings Niners 87. You can make an argument for that, but other than that, has there ever been a year before this one where every wildcard game is a rematch of a regular season game? I mean, technically, if you want to count 1981, you want to count that. The Jets play the Bills, the Giants play the Eagles. There was only one wild card game in each conference. I guess that counts technically. I know in 2009, 3 of the games were rematches of Week 17. So Jets-Bengals was a rematch, Packers-Cardinals was a rematch, and Eagles-Cowboys was a rematch of what happened in Week 17. On February 5th, 2023, which event is going to get the better TV ratings? NASCAR Cup Series at the Coliseum or the NFL Pro Bowl games? Pro Bowl. Coliseum, we saw it last year, so the novelty is kind of worn off. Pro Bowl games, I think there's going to be an interest just to see what the league does with this format, because no one knows what it's going to be like. So I think people want to see the change. Also, I watched The Clash last year. I wasn't a huge fan. I really thought I was going to like it. I was not a huge fan. Just because the cars, you can't go at super fast speed. Because the Coliseum's not big enough. It wasn't really that exciting for me. Plus, I think for the average American, NASCAR season doesn't start until Daytona. What game am I most excited about next week? I'm assuming you're not counting the Jaguars game. I'm assuming that doesn't count. So besides Jaguars, Giants-Vikings was phenomenal this season. I think the rematch will be very good. Hey Jaguar Gator, love your videos. Here's hoping to do a video on the 1998 Cardinals and the absolute absurdity they had to do against the playoffs. I've thought about that field storing video. I've thought about Week 16 was nuts. Obviously, Week 17 against the Chargers, that was crazy. Texans should be relegated to the USFL. I mean, look, Texans, the final month of the season, look very, very competent. Khan should hire Chris Jericho to do the pregame intro for Saturday's game. I'll have Dwayne The Rock Johnson at last year's Super Bowl. Let's see. Wait, Al Roker's doing NFL honors? Is that a real? Is that confirmed? I know the game's on Fox, so why would I don't even know if he'd be okay enough to do honestly, he just got back to today. I don't think he would hire for a game on Fox. $10 from Scorpion, thank you so much. Do you agree with the rule that the home team can be penalized if the crowd gets carried away with throwing things onto the field, i.e. the snowball throwing at the Bills game? So funny thing about that, there actually is no rule about that. The PA announcer just said that to get people to stop throwing, but they said afterwards there is no rule. He just said that to scare fans to stop throwing. They can't penalize. So I agree with you can suspend the game. You can kick people out, but Alright, now I want to look up who's hosting NFL Honors, if they've even announced it. Kelly Clarkson hosting NFL Honors. Okay. I don't know what her tie is with the NFL. Like, I don't know, is she a fan of what team she's a fan? Like, I know Keegan-Michael Key, when he did it, diehard Lions fan. So a lot of the jokes landed, a lot of that. I don't know what Kelly Clarkson's tie is with the NFL. I genuinely don't know. We'll see. I mean, her show's, from what I can tell, I mean, her show's fine. So, will I ever do a video on the Gus Frerotte headbutt? I'm not sure if that's too obscure. I'm not sure if that... NFL Honors is not taped. No, it's live. It's live. And thank you for the sub, Voltaire325. Thank you so much for the sub. Remember in 2009, when during Week 17, there were 10 ways the Broncos could get into the playoffs, and none of them happened? Funny you should say that. Just did a video on that. Super Bowl prediction, Bills against the Niners. I think Chris Berman, this will be what every year he predicted in the late 80s and early 90s. And I think this year it comes true. Dumbest decision of 2022 all season. Hackett week 1. Hackett week 1 with everything that he did at the very end of the game. That was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. E-Rock 2020, thank you so much. $2 there. Detroit is coming. I really hope so. They're a fun team to watch. They are a very fun team to watch, and I'm bummed they couldn't get into the playoffs this year. I watched Honors last year only for the Hall of Fame. I watched the monologue, and I watched for the Hall of Fame. For the Tony Baselli. I want to see if he got in. Honors used to be taped. It used to be taped by a few hours, and they made it live. They made it live. Could the Commanders relocate to another city? I mean, if by another city means somewhere in Virginia, I could see that, absolutely. I could see them moving to Virginia. But, like, another city, like you're talking like Omaha or Portland or something like that, no. They're not leaving the D.C. metro area. Favorite Kelly Clarkson song? My Life Would Suck Without You. What if the AFL won more of the first 4 Super Bowls? Honestly, I think if the AFL won the first one, Al Davis would call off the merger. I think if the Chiefs won the first one, the Raiders won the second, the AFL will call off the merger and say, look, game on. Game on. We're better than you guys. Game on. Bills Niners Super Bowl 25. Who wins? Ooh, that's a good one. That'd be a great hypothetical Super Bowl. I would probably go with the... Man. It'd be a great game. Be a close game. I'd probably go Buffalo. A baseball channel is coming February 2023. It'll be called Jaguar Gators 7. Jaguar Gators 7. I posted nothing on there yet, but we already have 30 subs, which is nuts because I know that so many people work to start a following, and I've already got 30 with no videos and no announcements on the main channel. I've literally just dropped it in a stream one time, and we've already got 30 subs. I will leave a link if you do want to sub, get in on the action. I accidentally just signed down to my YouTube because it's weird with YouTube. I don't know if you guys have if you switch profiles, the same button as switch profiles is right next to log out. So I have to just redo that really quickly. I'll put a link to that if you do want to sub. YJG7, 7th inning stretch. Yeah, 7th inning stretch. That's why. Yeah, we're at 29 subs already, and I have no content on there. I do not own a Jacksonville Speedo. No, I do not. I would not look good in a Speedo, let alone a Jacksonville one. All right, so let me link JG7 for those who do want to see. But there is nothing on the channel right now. I want to emphasize that. The first video does not drop for another month, and I will be heavy on the promotion once we start that. Congrats, Jaguars. Happy for your famous. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Tua should not play anymore this season. I completely agree. Looking at past Packers players while they're still relevant now that they're out this year, is the Clay Matthews that where he tries on not the weirdest commercial involving NFL? No, Solar Dog. If you've never seen Solar Dog, that's the one. You never seen the solar dog again. That's the weirdest stat involving a player. Do I have a video over the 09 Broncos? Yes, I do. Yes, I just uploaded one. Yeah. If the Panthers pass on Steve Wilkes, do you think he'll end up being a head coach at one of the other openings? I think so. I think so. How did JG8 get its name? JG9, I just lowered a number. I want to keep the same brand. Figured, look, 9's a higher number than 8. 9 for NFL, 8 for college. And just keep changing the number. I love your videos, but thank you so much. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. Thank you so much for loving my videos. Where is Sean Payton most likely to be hired by? Broncos, Texans, Panthers, Broncos. I think the Wallens have a boatload of money. They're gonna throw a boatload of money at him. Line should be in primetime next Thanksgiving. That's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. They always play 12:30. Do I own a dog? I do not. My sister has a dog that we're watching over for the next few days. So, because I'm still not at my regular location. I'm still with my parents because they live on the East Coast. I live out on the West Coast, and there's no reason for me to go back and forth while the Jaguars are still in. They said it's a bad idea for my sleep schedule. I completely agree, so I'm staying here for another week. I'd be back by now if it wasn't for the for that. What's the next video about? Dumb Decisions video. Something that happened this week. So yeah. Will be JG6 or JG5? I'm not decided yet. I want to see how JG7 goes. Because experimenting with college football felt very natural. Experimenting with baseball, a bit of a different ball game. Because there's a lot more competition. And it's a different sport. There's a lot of overlap between the NFL and college football. But JG9 and MLB, not that. How come the Cowboys don't play the NBC game on Thanksgiving? It's always been that way. It's always been Lions play at 12:30, Cowboys play at 4. It's always been that way. Jaguars won't play on Thanksgiving. No, they don't play the Lions, they don't play the Cowboys. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We have a $5 from Banjo playing Bison. Thank you so much. You should make an ad video about when the band Eels tried to have a 1-second ad at the Super Bowl to promote an album but was denied because of seizure concerns. I did not know that. Because here's the funny part. I know that Master Lock had a 1-second ad at the Super Bowl back in the 70s. That it was just a man shooting a gun at a lock to show how strong the lock was. And it was a 1-second or maybe a 5-second ad. And it was one of the biggest Super Bowl ads ever. Least favorite team in the AFC South, Titans. There's no close second. No close second. Let's see. Well, I live in Arizona. I went to law school down there, and I love it down there. I love it down there. Score prediction for Jaguars Chargers. I'm going to go 27-20 Chargers. 27-20 Chargers. Sam playing Mike Williams so much should be on that Dumb Decisions video. See, here's the thing. You can only play so many guys, and it's tough because at the time that they were getting ready and warming up, you were under the assumption that they were going to play everyone. So I had no problem with playing Mike Williams. The problem I had was when he got hurt, not giving the red light to everyone else. At that point, you pull Herbert, you pull all those guys. You don't let them go in the second half. What if the Jets didn't beat the Browns in 2020 and got to pick T-Law at number 1? Well, even if they beat the Browns, we got the number 1. We would have had the number 1. Because of how bad our schedule was, we had to go 0-16. Or the Jets had to go 0-16 to not get the 1. We own the tiebreaker the moment that they beat the Rams. But if that happened, the Jets are a playoff team. They're a contender for the Super Bowl. Honestly, with that defense, they're a contender for the Super Bowl. And if the Jaguars ended up at number 2 and they picked Zach Wilson, him with Urban Meyer, I am scared to see what would happen there. Let's see. Reaction to Kayvon's explanation for doing the Snow Angel. I had no problem with the Snow Angel. It was the go to sleep celebration on the sideline after he knew the situation that I had the problem with. But the Snow Angel, you could make the argument at least. Okay, heat of the moment, he didn't see him lying on the ground in pain. I could see that. The going to sleep, that was where he crossed the line. But look, the explanation, I mean, I guess show some respect to the people that came before you. I get Jeff Saturday is a coach that I don't really want to say a coach because he's not really a coach, but he had a borderline Hall of Fame career, maybe a Hall of Fame career. Like, of all the guys to disrespect and say, I don't know who you are, that's not one of them. That's not one of them. Tom Grossi crying in his beer. I have to watch the highlights of the stream. Dude, you could host Sports Jeopardy, have a great voice and personality. Thank you so much. I love watching Sports Jeopardy back in 2016 after the Olympics. Dan Patrick. I did the online test for that one. I did not make it through. But I watched that show a lot. I love that show. The Just for Feet commercial where they threw shoes at children was funny. So yeah, the thing with Just for Feet, the crazy part about Just for Feet with the commercials was that all their other ads were lighthearted, they were family friendly, they were fun, they had an energy to them. And then the Just for Feet Kenya runner ad came out. It was like, no, this is not your brand identity. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. Like, why did you think this way? I mean, we saw in the video, we saw with the articles and whatnot that the man that the guys of the company thought this was a bad idea. The ad agency said, trust us. We know what we're doing. I know you guys have no experience going national with ads because you're very localized. Trust us. We know what we're doing. We're going to make a splash. And they were very reluctant, but they gave in. And it was bad. All right, let's see. Video idea, 1980 AFC playoffs, every team 11-5, breaking down how and why each team was their seed. I talked about the 1980 Patriots and how they could have made it, and every team, like 5 teams, if one of them lost, they would be in, and they didn't. Did I know the Jets were supposed to have a Sunday night game in 2016? What game were they? I mean, 2015 they were not bad, so it doesn't shock me. I forget what game got flexed out, though. Congrats, JG9. I'm glad the Jags won for Uchi. Thank you, and I'm really happy for Uchi. I know he was watching that one. Biggest NFC Championship and AFC Championship upsets ever. AFC, definitely Chargers, Steelers. Definitely that. NFC Championship, biggest upset. Biggest upset NFC Championship. I guess Giants, Packers. It's pretty big. I'd say Giants, Packers. Probably be my pick there. Maybe Buccaneers, Eagles also, or Panthers, Eagles. Falcons, Vikings was big, but then again, that was 2 teams that were 15-1, 14. Like, I mean, those teams were the top 2 seeds. Falcons, Vikings was big, but it's top 3. I feel like you could have given the Falcons a shot. What was the spread on that game? I'm checking the spread on that game. Yeah, Falcons are 14-2. So 14-2 team is tough to really call that the biggest upset. The spread on that game was... Oh, the spread was 11? Oh, wow. I didn't realize the spread was that high. Wow, I didn't realize the spread was that high. Biggest divisional round upsets ever. Easily 19... No, not easily. NFC, yes. NFC, yes. AFC, it's Jaguars, Broncos. All time, it's Jaguars, Broncos. Okay, now I'm curious. What was the spread in 07 with Giants, Packers? What was the spread on that game? Because they played in week 2 and they got obliterated. Packers were favored by 7.5. Okay. Panthers over Rams was divisional... I mean, that was a big upset, but not compared to Vikings Niners. All right, 2003 Eagles Panthers. So the 2003 NFC Championship. What was the spread on that one? Spread was Eagles -4. Okay, that wasn't as big. Eagles Bucks had to be a pretty big spread. Eagles Bucks, because the Bucks had never won a road playoff game before, and they won what happened in previous years with anytime the Eagles play the Bucks, and Eagles won the earlier matchup. That was only 4-2. That was only a 4-point spread too. Wow, that shocks me. That shocks me. Oh, wait. AFC Championship. Wait a second. Time out. I don't know why it was so... I mean, Chargers Steelers is probably still number one, but I don't know why I didn't even consider Dolphins Patriots 85. Top 3 all-time wildcard games were the 92-93... The 35-3 game, the comeback, is obviously number one. Wildcard games, top 3, I go that one. I'd probably go the catch 2. And you can maybe go Chiefs-Colts. Chiefs-Colts in the crazy comeback there. It's probably that. Oh, college football championship pick. I got Georgia tomorrow. I hope TCU wins. I want Duggan to win, and I want TCU to get there first, but that. Let's see. JG6 for basketball. That seems the most logical. 6-man. If I go soccer, I go up to 10. Will the Cowboys be willing to go primetime Thanksgiving? No, they love that 4 o'clock spot. That game gets so high ratings. 40 million, 35 million every year. Primetime Thanksgiving doesn't do great, relatively speaking, because a lot of people are going home from Thanksgiving parties and whatnot. They're on the road. They're putting up Christmas decorations that night. Greatest wildcard round, yeah. 49ers, Giants, Browns, Steelers. I mean, you have a lot of good picks for wildcard round. A lot of good picks. Who would I have winning the Super Bowl? I've got the Bills. You did a video about Seifert ruining his Hall of Fame career. Do you think Sean Payton could do the same thing if he tanks at his next job? That's a good question. See, I don't think Payton would be in the Hall of Fame. That's the thing. I don't think Payton would be in the Hall of Fame. I think when you consider what happened with Bountygate, I think when you consider the fact that he's only won one Super Bowl, he's only made it to one, I don't think he'd be in. So there's not really a Hall of Fame career to tank. Because Shanahan's not in, Holmgren's not in. I don't see right now how Payton would be in. FCS title game today. I don't get why. Why did the FCS play the title game today? You had yesterday at 1 o'clock, Saturday, where you play college football. You play college football on Saturdays. You had the 1 o'clock spot open. You could have aired that on ABC and then had a doubleheader that was your lead-in to Chiefs, Raiders, and Jaguars, Titans. That could have been your lead-in. 1 o'clock. Play the game on Saturday. No, we're going to play it on the final Sunday of the NFL season. Makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. We understood with the Saints alone is Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, I don't disagree with that. But he's not Hall of Fame. He's not Hall of Fame. I'm super far behind on these questions. Holy cow. It's 1:10 in the morning on the East Coast. All right, I'm going to stay on, but just want to give a brief recap or breakdown what's going to happen. Tomorrow we are doing or before that we have a $5 from Jova. Thank you so much. It's amazing how my Niners traded everything from McCaffrey, lost to the Chiefs, and never looked back. McCaffrey trade was great for them. The team in win now mode. Yeah, you give it some picks, but you don't give up any huge capital necessarily. You don't give up any capital that's going to cost you going forward. So, great trade. Win-win trade. He wasn't going to win anything with the Panthers. Niners in him. That's a win-win. That's a win-win. Best last NFL regular season game of the season was 04 Jets-Rams. No reason to buy. It's the best last regular season game by far. Chargers-Raiders last year. By far. It's not even close. Not even close. Dumb decision I saw this week. The Jets calling a timeout in response to the Dolphins lining up for a 59-yard field goal. Yeah, Robert Saleh's clock management is really, really baffling to me. His timeout management, his clock management. He's on the hot seat now. I have to be honest. He won't be fired this year, but if they don't do anything next year, he's gone. Because his in-game management skills are not there. You think the final should have been a rematch between Ohio State and Michigan? No, I mean, look, both semifinal games were great. I can't really say Ohio State deserved to win their game. I can't say Michigan deserved to win their game. All right. Let's see. In terms of what's on the agenda, tomorrow, or I guess today, later today, Dumb Decisions video. Then we'll have some wildcard content throughout the week. I have a Patreon request that I'm going to get to this week as well about something that happened in wildcard history, so keep an eye out on that. We're also going to have a short coming out at 4 o'clock like we usually do. We're going to have a JG8 video coming out at 6 o'clock. A failed bowl game from the 70s or early 80s. That should be good. Should be interesting. And then we have some more JG8 content coming out. I really got to start pumping out the JG8 content. Just haven't been able to lately, but I do have a lot of scripts in the works for that. I have, I think, 2 scripts done already that I have to just record the audio for. So, your videos are informative. I didn't know that the Wonder Years started after Super Bowl. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a blurb I read about a while ago, and was like, wait, that changed the face of TV history. If they did not do that, what would have happened? You do such a good job making totally innocent things interesting. Thank you so much. I love doing that. I love taking like 1 or 2 sentence blurbs from newspaper and turning them into full-length videos and just making it sound like a big deal. I really love doing that. The dumb decision this week has to be when the Colts gave up a 4th and 20. It is from the Colts game. It is from the Colts game. I will say that. Why the line start at 12:30 Eastern instead of 1:05 Eastern? You don't want overlap in between the games on Thanksgiving. You don't want the Lions game overlapping with the Cowboys game. Each network wants to air a pregame show that people see, and they want to air the full game and their halftime show. You can't really do that if the game starts at 1. Should the Raiders hire Garfield as their head coach and pay him in lasagna? All right, but what if they have a Monday night football game? Because he hates Mondays. So what if they have a Monday night game? You can't really do that. The dumb decision was Mark Davis kicking out his own fans because they displayed signs and wore gear saying "Fire McDaniels," then complaining that there's too many away fans in the stadium. Yeah, you're not going to get too many fans that way. I don't get why you're complaining about too many away fans. You moved the team to Vegas. You moved them to the #1 tourist destination in the country. Why are you shocked by this? You move the team to a big city that is tourist friendly, and that there are a lot of local teams in the area or nearby. Why does Memphis not have an NFL team? Long story on that. World Football League in the 70s, they didn't get one. They got shut out in the expansion, so they kind of hated the NFL from that point. And that's why they didn't embrace the Oilers when they moved for that one season. Why the Rams do have LA in 95 Stadium? Stadium deal. I mean, Anaheim Stadium was a terrible place to play football on. Golden Knights don't get taken over. Yeah, but Golden Knights were the first. Golden Knights were the first. Also, so the thing is that hockey's a bit different. Hockey's different. The Golden Knights were the first team. They were an expansion team also. So it's very easy for fans who didn't have a local team to be like, okay, I'm going to drop my team and root for the expansion team. The Raiders came from somewhere. And they came with a reputation also. You have to remember that. My cousins live in Vegas, and they were like, I'm not crazy about the Raiders moving here. Like, the reputation their fans have. I don't really want to join the Raiders bandwagon. On top of that, football, the games are played on weekends. You can make a weekend trip out of it, make a trip to Vegas, go to Vegas, see your team playing the game and whatnot. Hockey, they're played throughout the week. So you're not really flying out to Vegas on Monday to watch your team play Tuesday and fly back Wednesday. You're not really doing that. You're not really making excursions to Vegas for hockey. Versus football, it's like, okay, fans like going to one road game a year. Which one are you going to? You're going to go to the one in Vegas. You're going to go to the one where there's stuff to... You're going to go to either one with the cheapest tickets or where there's stuff to do. And for most people, that's Vegas. Not the cheap part, but the stuff to do. And entertainment. Let's make a whole weekend out of it. The Raiders belong in an outdoor stadium, not a dome. I don't think we're ever going to see another outdoor stadium for the NFL get built ever again. I really don't think we're ever going to see another outdoor stadium get built. Unless Lambeau Field turns into disarray and the Packers just need to build it, like, renovate it a bit, we will never see another outdoor stadium. Because it's so much money you're leaving on the table. With concerts, with Final Fours, with conventions. It is such a bad investment to build an outdoor stadium now. Such a bad investment. Because you can only use it for football and maybe some summer concerts. Yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan. I got family in the area. Of course I'm going to Vegas if I can. Yeah, exactly. 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 Yeah, Green Bay will be the holdout. Green Bay will always play outdoors. They're the holdout. As a Bears fan, I hate the idea of a dome. Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, as a Bears fan, you want Super Bowls. You want to host, or if you're in Chicago, Arlington Heights, you want to host Super Bowls. You want to host Final Fours. You're not doing that with an outdoor stadium. You're not doing it. Yeah, Bills, I don't get why. I don't get why. Aside from the fact that New York's getting screwed on the stadium deal. Like, that's a lot of public money coming from that deal. I guess Buffalo, you weren't going to ever be in the running for big concerts or Super Bowls or Final Fours or anything like that, so maybe it makes sense for cities like that. Maybe for cities like that it makes sense. Where you could see. Like, Green Bay will never get a Final Four. You could build a world-class indoor stadium, you're not getting a Final Four in Green Bay. Buffalo, you're never getting a Final Four. Met City Field was supposed to be a retractable roof, but it got cheap. I thought part of that was also that Met City Field was supposed to host the Olympics. 2012, that was supposed to be the home stadium for the Olympics. It was going to be built like Atlanta in 96, where what happened with Turner Field, where they had the extension for track, and then they would get rid of it. My opinion on grass versus turf, grass all the way. Grass all the way. I watched so many soccer games on turf. My sister played soccer on a turf field, and holy cow, it hurts going down to the ground there. Outdoor stadium in Florida? No, that'd be the worst place to do it, because it's brutally hot. It's miserable for the fans. It's miserable for the fans. At least Jacksonville, they're finally looking into getting a roof, getting some shade, which thank God. Thank God. 1989 Steelers and Oilers, only time two teams with a negative point differential made the playoffs. I'm assuming 82 we had some teams also. Super Bowl matchup will be the best in terms of storylines. Bills for obvious reasons. I think networks in America would eat that up. Bills, and for storylines, probably Cowboys. Bills, Cowboys. Do I foresee the NFL expanding their playoff format beyond 14? No. And I hope they don't. The one seed as a bye should be the... one seed as the bye should always be how it is. There should be an incentive for that. The Olympic Stadium in New York City was supposed to be the west side by the Javits Center, but Cablevision blocked it because they own MSG. I know that because the Jets were building West Side Stadium. But I could have swore... Because I have the photo of the... Because there is a photo of Citi Field being used as an Olympic stadium. I can put the link in. I don't know if the plans were tentative, because obviously we would have a West Side Stadium and all that, but there was that. Biggest surprise win of the weekend. Commanders, by far. Commanders over the Cowboys. Did not see that happen. So Jaguars 7, does that mean the name is canon? Yes. Best AFC championship that never happened and best NFC championship that never happened. Last outdoor stadium was Levi's. Last outdoor, like completely outdoor, was Levi's. Yeah, Citi Field was going to be the Olympic. Yeah. Best AFC championship that never happened. I would have loved to have seen Chargers in the 70s. Dan Fouts offense against Steel Curtain defense. I would have loved to have seen that. Chargers Steelers in the late 70s would have been awesome. NFC championship. Let's go with NFC championship. NFC championship. I'd probably say. Is it cheating to just say one of the years that Cowboys Packers was an NFC championship to just say Cowboys Niners? Best Super Bowl that never happened. 53 Chiefs Saints. Yeah. Yeah, that's or Chiefs Rams. Chiefs Rams rematch of that Monday night game. Also, I would say 85 Super Bowl 20. I think Bears Dolphins would have been an all-time classic. Will Apple ever bid for the NFL streaming rights like it did for MLS? I thought they tried to. They tried to bid for them, but the problem is that the NFL wants to keep the blackouts in place, the local blackouts, where if the game is on CBS or Fox in your area, you can't watch it through the app, and Apple said no. And YouTube was the only one that pretty much took them all on that offer. Could have had Mark Sanchez, Jay Cutler Super Bowl back in 2011. Could have had Nick Foles. We could have Case Keenum. Excuse me. Could have Case Keenum, Blake Bortles back in the 2017 season. Got an interesting video idea about how Boise State causing USC to miss the national title in 2003 because of playing a game late at night to alter their strength of schedule. I did not know that. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. Thoughts on the Hall of Fame class that they announced so far? Look, I really want Fred Taylor to make it. I knew it wasn't going to be this ballot. It was just a very stacked class. Here's my thought with the Hall of Fame. For me, at least. If you think Andre Johnson should be in the Hall of Fame, fine. Absolutely. If you think he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I'm fine with that. If you think Steve Smith should be in the Hall of Fame, fine with that. If you think he shouldn't be, I'm also fine with that. But I don't know how you can make an argument for one over the other. That's the problem I have. I don't know how you can look at the careers of Andre Johnson and Steve Smith and say, Andre Johnson, he's a definite Hall of Famer. He should absolutely be in. Steve Smith, no. Hall of very good. He's not Hall worthy. Or vice versa. Steve Smith, great receiver, Hall of Fame player, absolutely. Andre Johnson, no way. I don't know how you can make that argument. And the fact that Andre Johnson is a finalist and Steve Smith isn't, I don't know. I don't know what the logic is there. And the fact, for me personally, Henry Ellard should have been in the 15. Henry Ellard should have been in over Andre Johnson. For the reasons I said before. Andre Johnson, Steve Smith. Put both or put neither. I can't see one without the other. Their careers were almost identical. And their impact for their franchises was almost identical. Their impact on the league was almost identical. How is one not in over the other? Hester should get in. Yeah. It won't happen this year. I don't think it's not going to happen this year. I think this year, what I said was going to happen this year. Obviously, Joe Thomas, Darrelle Revis, first ballot, they're getting it in. I think I said what, Jared Allen, I said Reggie Wayne, and I said DeMarcus Ware. I think that's the 5 that get in. Ellard will get in as a senior nominee. I think so. I think he will get in as a senior nominee. Will MetLife ever host another Super Bowl? No, absolutely not. We'll never host another Super Bowl. It was a disaster. I was there. Not at the game. I was not at the game. But the whole fan experience was a disaster. They narrowly avoided a snowstorm. Literally 90 minutes after the game, it started snowing. It's not a great stadium. It's out of the way. It is not very good. And they will never do it again. We'll never do it again. Yeah, Childs Adonis is good. Yeah, Don Coryell is getting in. The senior, basically, if you're a senior nominee, well, you're a contributor finalist or a coach finalist, you're getting in. You're not getting in. You made it this far, you're getting in. Yeah, there's a huge backlog at wide receiver. Huge backlog. Will Ford Field host another Super Bowl? I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. Will the Texans ever win? I mean, ever is a strong word, so eventually, yeah. MetLife looks ugly. It is. It looks like an office building on the outside. It really does. Yeah, guys like Coryell, Klecko, they haven't gotten in yet, but basically the journalists, the voters just have to vote on them. They'll get in. MetLife Super Bowl was the greatest game in NFL history. Not so sure about that. Is Eagles-Cowboys the number one rivalry in the NFL? Top three. Top three. Steelers-Ravens and Bears-Packers are up there. Will AT&T ever host another Super Bowl? No. No. It was such a disaster that they're not going to do it again. If they did even a halfway competent job, they would have. But you had ice falling off the stadium. You had the whole seat fiasco where the seats weren't ready. They're not getting another one. They blew their shot. Will Jacksonville get another Super Bowl if the Jaguars get a new stadium? No. No, they will not get another Super Bowl. No chance. No chance. Media hated the Jacksonville Super Bowl. Hated it. Ken Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame before he dies. I completely agree. Completely agree. He should absolutely be in. He should absolutely be in. Were the Texans the best 3-13-1 team this season? I mean, I guess. It's only one. Biggest Jags draft bust of the last 5 years. C.J. Henderson. Played one season. Terrible. Traded him away. He's been terrible in Carolina. I read the NFL has the ability to move Cowboys to primetime on Thanksgiving due to flex rules. I've never heard of that before. Will Levi's Stadium ever host another Super Bowl? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. You got a good voice for radio. Do you ever do any broadcasts before? Thank you so much. I did some broadcasts for my college radio station, but no. No. What about Amazon Prime Gaming taking place on Black Friday? They're talking about that. Every commercial ad is a 30-second flash out with one-click purchases. Oh, man. I mean, that's genius. That is genius. It's a brilliant idea. They'll do something. They'll do something. Have a good face for radio, too. Harsh but true. Harsh but true. Let's see. The Cardinals-Panthers 08 was a big upset. People tend to forget. I think people forget it because we don't really consider Jake Delhomme in high regard versus Kurt Warner, who was a Hall of Fame quarterback. On top of that, that game was a blowout, so we don't really see blowouts as upsets. But it was an upset. It was definitely an upset. Will they ever turn YouTube memberships on? I don't really know what I would use them for. That's the thing. I don't know what I would use it for. If there's a demand for them, but I want to make sure you're getting something for your money. I don't really know what I would do with YouTube memberships I don't already do on Patreon. Will Atlanta host another Super Bowl? Absolutely. Yes. That stadium, from the looks of it, is gorgeous. They've been a host before. They do a good job every time. Atlanta, major city, easy access to with airport hubs. They're hosting. They're in the rotation for a long, long time. Oilers-Bills AFC Championship game in the 90s. That would have been fun. That would have been fun. Do I think SoFi will get another Super Bowl before 2030? Yes. Yes. Kroenke did not build the $5 billion stadium to only get one Super Bowl. Lions-Jaguars Super Bowl would be unique. I would love it. I would love it. Jaguars, anyone in the Super Bowl, I would love that one. SoFi and Allegiant will get more Super Bowls. Yeah, big cities, big stadiums. They'll get it. Kansas City, will they host? No, not unless they get a dome. They get a dome, they will. They get a dome, they could. But outdoor in KC, no. I know they talked about it. I think Super Bowl 49 was supposed to be KC. Assuming they got a dome, but they did not. Thank you for the sub. Retro Pewter, thank you so much for the sub. What do you think would have happened if Drew Bledsoe never got injured? Brady probably makes it somewhere, but not with the Patriots. He makes it somewhere. Why do you think Indy turned down the neutral site AFC Championship? They were booked that. I think there was a convention that week that they were booked. I'm surprised Caesar Superdome is getting another one. It's an old stadium now. Yeah, it's New Orleans, though. New Orleans has always been in the rotation. I sent you an email with a little recent comparison of your video voting in Super Bowl. Oh yeah, I have to get back. I saw that email. I have to get back to you. I have to get back to a few of my emails. I've been kind of backlogged from stuff that happened this past weekend, so I have to do that. Aaron Rodgers will not return to Green Bay. I think he will. I think he's got one more year. I think he'll do one more year. Favorite team in the NFC South? I mean, I went to college down in Carolina, so I will say the Carolina Panthers. But I'm not really tied to anyone. $5 from Sam Martinez. Thank you so much. Bills, Niners, Super Bowl never happened, but could have happened 4 different times. 88, 90, 92, and 93. It would be great to see them there this year. Yeah, it would be. It would be. They're two of the best teams in football. Great offense versus great defense. Well-balanced teams. Great coaches. And it's funny because Chris Berman, I think, 11 straight years he picked them as his Super Bowl pick. And he got one team right every year, but he never got them both. New Washington starting quarterback next year. I think they'll make a play for Lamar. And if they can't get Lamar, they'll probably try to trade up for the number 1 pick. I could see Bryce Young as a starting quarterback for the Commies next year. I could see that. Will the Buccaneers ever get another chance to host Tampa? Yeah, Tampa's in the rotation. They've been in there for a while, and I think after how they handled the COVID Super Bowl, I think they're gonna get another one because the NFL realizes, that was not fair to them. That was not fair. They moved up a year to help out LA, and they got rewarded by a COVID Super Bowl. So we'll give them another one. A Browns-Lions Super Bowl. I mean, they had the NFL championship many times in the 50s, so could see it. I guess, will there ever be? I mean, if we play a sport for 1,000 years, probably at some point. San Francisco was supposed to host Super Bowl 33 at Candlestick. Yeah. 33 or 32? I thought, was it 32 or 33? It was one of the ones in the 90s. $5 from Connor Akers. Thank you so much. The epic 2022 World Cup final was something the world needed after dealing with the pandemic for almost 3 years. Absolutely. We were craving a world tournament like that. Because it was supposed to be the Olympics the summer before that, but there were attendance restrictions on that, so no one showed up. So we needed that. We needed that for sure. Felt good. Because even like the 2022 Winter Olympics, attendance capacity issues, couldn't do anything there. This was the first real big world event since the pandemic, and it was nice. Could this be the year that Chris Berman Bills Niners actually happen? Maybe. A Texans Cowboys Super Bowl. King of the Hill style. Any answer other than Kibby Dome is wrong. Long live the Kibby Dome. Yeah, so San Diego was 32, right? And it was 33. Okay. Because I knew Candlestick was supposed to get one in the 90s, in the late 90s. Because, I think what I'm thinking of is Super Bowl 37 was then supposed to be San Fran. So 33 was, and then they couldn't do it, and then 37 was supposed to be San Fran, and then they moved it to San Diego. Not the last minute, but a few years in advance. Yeah, Jags Rams 34 would have been the Super Bowl I would have loved to have seen. Would have loved to have seen that one. Was San Diego supposed to get another Super Bowl? No. Not that I know of. Yeah, Raymond James is fine from everything I can tell. Why didn't they get a Super Bowl in San Fran? Because it was contingent on a new stadium, and they did not get a new stadium. Because you're not playing in a Candlestick Park. To see the gift that was left of the Bills merch shop for the Bills Mafia over the weekend. I did not see that, no. Let me look it up. Did not see that. Oh, the Cincinnati... Oh, wait. Cincinnati fan sends very Buffalo gift to Bills Mafia. Oh, that's really sweet. That's really sweet. Thank you for the sub, Jose Giza. Thank you so much for the sub. Oilers were robbed in '79 the AFC Championship. Completely agree. One of the worst missed calls of all time. I have that as number 3 on the worst missed calls in conference championship history. Number 2 is the Saints pass interference missed call, and number 1 is Don Chandler's field goal at the end of Super Bowl, or not Super Bowl, like 1965 Western Conference playoff. Terrible, terrible. OJ Simpson likes the Bills and Niners. I remember seeing a 1993 video of him wearing a Bills-Niners hybrid jacket. It makes sense. He played for both teams. Play for the Bills and go trade to the Niners. A city that should host a Super Bowl but hasn't, and why? All right, I can't say Vegas because Vegas is hosting and they haven't yet, so that'd be cheating. But a city that that should host but hasn't. I'm just, if you see me up close, I'm just plugging in my computer because the charger fell out, so my apologies there. A city that hasn't hosted. Is it cheating to say Nashville? Is it cheating to say Nashville once they get the new stadium? Would be a phenomenal host. Is that cheating? But I feel like Nashville is the one that makes the most sense. Will Seattle ever host? Not unless they get an indoor stadium. Would Denver or Seattle get a dome? I could see it. Denver would be tough because altitude and all that. Seattle, I think, could. Seattle could. Seattle should have hosted one when they had the Kingdom. I mean, they were in talks to host back in the 80s. Super Bowl 31 battle, the Toddler Panthers Jaguars. That would have been awesome, the expansion team battle. Moscow, Idaho. What would you do if the Super Bowl was in the Kibbe Dome? I would be thrilled. It'd be so weird. It'd be so weird. I'd love it, though. Will Denver host? No. Not unless they get an indoor stadium. Will with the sub, thank you so much for that. Foxborough Super Bowl, let's do it. Nice stadium. I like the community around it in terms of Patriot Place. Too far out of the way. Too far out of the way to do it. You can't host a Super Bowl in the suburbs like that. You can't do it. Does Cleveland get a dome too? I could see, because they could host big events. So I could see. Denver, I think if they got a dome, they would get the Super Bowl. I think if Denver got a dome, they would get it. Will they do the Super Bowl at a non-NFL venue again? Maybe. I could see, like, London, maybe. But in terms of NFL stadiums in the U.S., no, they wouldn't do it. Because there wasn't really a difference between college stadiums and NFL stadiums back then. Like, amenity-wise and whatnot, now there's a huge difference. If they're going to go to a non-NFL stadium, London's the only way I could see. London is the only way I could see them going to a non-NFL city. Who I think will host Super Bowl 60 in 2026? Super Bowl 60. Let's go Indy. I think Indy. Have I met any network broadcasters in person? Yes, I met. I was eating breakfast at the hotel I stayed in Jacksonville, and I was eating breakfast and ran into and talked to Sean McDonough and John Gruden. They were down there for the Monday night football preseason game between the Jaguars and the Buccaneers in 2017. Will I be streaming any playoff games? I will not be streaming playoff games because I want to have a studio set up for that, because I'll do that next year. I'm going to experiment with streaming some games next year. Jaguars games, no way. I will never do any streams for Jaguars games. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. Mexico City Super Bowl, that's such a high altitude. Like, Denver's a high altitude, Mexico City is another level. Mexico City is, 8,800 feet? I don't think they would do it. AFC North, only division that never hosted a Super Bowl. Yep. Orlando could host a Super Bowl. I feel like at that point, why not just put in Miami? Why not just put in Miami? Will the Rose Bowl ever host another Super Bowl? No. No, the amenities aren't there. Parking's a nightmare. It's never going to happen. Do I see Tampa Bay hosting an outdoor NHL game at Raymond James? Weather-wise, it wouldn't work. The ice would melt. It would be a nightmare. What team should Harry Kane play for in the NFL? I mean, Joey Slye did not have a good game today for the Commanders. Just saying. Just saying. Backlog at head coach 2. Why else is Mark Schottenheimer not in? He's never made a Super Bowl. That's why. It's tough to make it as a head coach if you've never won the Super Bowl, never made it to the Super Bowl, or unless you change the game. Like, Don Coryell never made it to a Super Bowl, but he changed the game. He revolutionized offense. Schottenheimer, very good head coach, didn't revolutionize anything. So I don't see it happening. Here, just play the game in Tampa. There's no point in Orlando if you have Tampa and Miami. Why am I a Jaguars fan? 2005 became a fan. Saw them play the Steelers on TV, saw them play the Bengals on TV, and I was hooked ever since. Will Yankee Stadium hold a decent bowl game that does not include Syracuse? It'll host nothing but Northeast teams. They got to get some Northeast team. They have to get a Boston College or a Syracuse or a Pitt. They got to get someone. Why isn't there a toilet bowl for the worst teams in the NFL? Because it would be an injury nightmare. Players would never agree to that, and I don't think anyone would ever agree to that. Why doesn't Jacksonville host another Super Bowl? Because downtown, there's nothing there right now. Not a lot to do downtown, got to be honest. Love that city, but there's not a lot to do downtown. And hotel situation would be a nightmare. They had to get cruises in, which I thought was a great idea, but I don't think you can get cruise ships in anymore. I don't think you can do that. Winter Classic in Seattle next year at the baseball field. It should be at the Seahawks field. Yeah, that is a bit weird. I guess you can do more with the baseball field in terms of the aesthetics around the, like, design-wise and stage-wise and whatnot than you can do at a football field. The Kraken Golden Knights, that's a good pick for the Winter Classic. It's a unique site. You can do a lot with that. Toronto Super Bowl, no. Stadium's not that big. Rogers Center doesn't hold 60,000. BMO Field doesn't hold 60,000. Even with the expansion, it won't hold that much. And they tried playing NFL games there. It didn't work. Didn't work. All right, I think on that note, it is 1:45 in the morning. We still have a lot of people on stream. Been on for over 2.5 hours at this point, but I think I'm going to call it there. So again, in terms of what's on the agenda, tomorrow, or in 7 hours, Dumb Decisions video drops. We have a JG8 video coming out tomorrow, hopefully. We have a short coming out tomorrow. We have content throughout the week. We have trivia Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. As usual, $45 in the pot to our winner. Patreon if you want early access to videos or the ability to request future video topics we're going to cover. Go to my Patreon page, check that out, and go to Fiverr if you want to see, or if you want me to create trivia questions for a competition. If you run a bar or anything like that, I can make trivia questions for you. And go to jg9shop.com for all your official Jaguar Gator 9 merchandise. You can jg9shop.com. Okay, last question. Would I prefer to watch the Jags in Arizona or Florida? Arizona. Just, it's easier for me. It's easier for me. Not having to fly across the country and not having to wake up for early flights. I'd much rather watch the Jags in Arizona. Much rather do that. If you mean being at if you mean like being at person at the game or watching in my apartment in Arizona, in person, easily. But if you mean would I rather watch the like if I could relocate the Jaguars to outside my apartment, would I do it? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to call it there. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Jaguar9 signing off. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. Enjoy the week, and I will see you guys on Wednesday night for some NFL trivia. And until next time, Jaguar9 signing off.